Hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to teach you guys how to reclaim some screens. If you're wanting to print a lot, if you're new to screen printing, hopefully this can help you out a little bit, because you can print on one screen many times with many different designs. As long as you take care of the screen and do everything the right way, then you can use one screen for a very long time. We've had many screens for multiple years. We print here on the Vastex V2000. It's a great manual press that I really like. I just have a lot of screens, a lot of jobs right now that need to be cleaned, and I just thought this would be a good opportunity to make a video and show some folks that are newer to screen printing how to reclaim those screens. So there's a few steps. It's not too hard. It's pretty messy, and you don't need too much equipment to do it. So hopefully I can cover everything in detail to where you'll be able to use some of this knowledge for yourself. All right, so one of the first things you want to do when you are reclaiming a screen is get as much ink off as you can. You can use like an old credit card or a squeegee to kind of scrape all the ink off, and I've already done that on the screen that we're going to be redoing. And you're going to need a lot of chemicals for this process, so get with your supplier, and I'm going to tell you everything that you need. They may have like a bundle, but I'll let you know exactly what kinds of chemicals you're going to need to clean this screen. And this is for if you're using Plastisol ink. If you're using water-based ink, you might have a little bit of a different process. This is only for Plastisol based ink. So some things you will need for this first step is ink degrader. All right, this basically just breaks down the ink. You will need some type of brush, something to scrub with. We have a lot of these where it's just very abrasive to where you can scrub into the screen and get the ink up. So I've already done this one. I've already sprayed it with the ink degrader. Oh, one more thing you'll need a respirator, all right, because some of these chemicals are pretty nasty. These say environmentally safe. I don't really believe any of it because they seem pretty harsh. So get some kind of respirator to use when you are working in your washout booth and reclaiming your screens and burning your screens. So I've already sprayed this one down and scrubbed it pretty good with this. Just you can be really rough with it. You don't have to be super easy. And then the next step after you do that is to spray it out. And I use a pressure washer, pretty cheap pressure washer. We used to use just a garden hose to do it, and I did that for at least a year or two, and I bought a pressure washer and it made all the difference. I think pressure washer was only like $100. So once I started using it, I was like, man, this is a no-brainer. I wish I'd have done this a long time ago. But anyways, make sure you have one of these. It will save your lungs. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this ink out. First thing to do is to get all the ink out of the screen. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray it real quick, and then we'll move on. To take the tip. Some of these registration marks, the ink's not wanting to come out, so I have to hold it really close to really blast that ink out. Okay, so next step, we've got most of the ink off. Some of it's still on there, it's okay. You really just want to focus on where the design is. You really want to try to blast the ink out of there. That's going to save you some headaches later on. Next step is to remove this emulsion. Emulsion is the blue stuff that basically makes the stencil. I mean, you already know what it is if you're learning how to reclaim the screen. So what we're going to use is some emulsion remover right here. And this chemical is a little more harsh, so please make sure you have a respirator. So all you do here is you spray it on there, on the front and on the back. I put my respirator on. It's hard to talk and do this stuff at the same time. Forget things.
Alright, so then I'm going to take one of these scrubbers, and I like to use one just for emulsion, and you're just going to scrub it, and you can be really aggressive with it. Make sure you get everything. And make sure you get both sides of it. And you can just let that sit for a minute. Not for too long. You don't want it to dry on there. But just let it sit for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And then you can start spraying it out. I like to get both sides of the pan. Now everything's off there.
It's so much easier with a power washer. If you have a power washer, it's going to make these go twice as fast than if you're just using the garden hose. So I'm going to do the rest of these and then come back. All right, we are almost done. We have 2 steps left to finishing reclaiming our screen. This step is not entirely necessary. If you do a good job getting all the ink off and a good job with the emulsion removal, you don't have to do this step, but oftentimes I have to because I just don't do a great job with the first 2 sometimes. If you let a screen sit for too long with ink on it, it's hard to get all the ink out. So this 3rd step is called dehazing, and you'll need a dehazing chemical. All right, that's what it's called. And basically what happens is in your screen, this is the screen we were working on, your design, even though most of the ink is removed and most of the emulsion or all of the emulsion's off, some of the ink will remain and there will be a really faint outline of your design in there, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Let me walk behind it and see. Yeah, you can still see that number 4 is on there and there's a line. And so we have to get rid of that, and this dehazing chemical does it really well. And I think this is the strongest of all the chemicals. I mean, it's really harsh, but it will strip that down. And I forgot to go over this earlier, but almost all circumstances where you're cleaning a screen, you're gonna spray it first from the inside of the screen, all right? Not on the back, on the inside. Well, this time when you dehaze, you wanna spray the dehazer over everything, the front and back, scrub it on both sides. But when you are spraying it out, you want to spray from the back first. And I'm not sure why that is, but that will remove that ghosting design on there. So I'm going to go ahead and spray it down and get rid of that design that's on there. And again, I like to use we keep a lot of these little scrubbing pads, and I use a separate one for each part of the process. There's 4 parts of reclaiming the screen. Removing the ink with your ink degrader, removing the emulsion, dehazing, and then the fourth step will be degreasing. I use a separate pad for each one just to not cross-contaminate any of the chemicals. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this down, scrub it, and get it sprayed out, and it should remove that design.
I'm gonna let this sit for about 30 seconds before I spray it out. All right, as you can see, it's completely clear now. That design is gone.
All right, the last step of the process, we've done all the hard part. The last step is to basically make sure that the screen is clean. All the chemicals, all the ink, everything that we put on it is removed so that we can put a new fresh coat of emulsion on there, because the emulsion is really sensitive, and if it's dirty, when you go to burn it, it might mess up your design, and then you're gonna have to do everything that I just did all over again, all right, because it wasn't clean enough. So this is just degreaser. It's the fourth step, so it's called degreaser, and you just spray it on both sides, let it sit for a minute, and then just wash it out. It's really easy. By this point, you shouldn't have too much stuff left on your screen. All right, it should be pretty clean already. This just ensures that it's really clean and ready for that next coat of emulsion. So you just spray it on both sides. I like this kind because it's red. The last kind was clear, but the red's kind of cool. So I'm just gonna spray that on there and scrub it, and then
Wash it out.
That's pretty much it. Your screen's ready to go. Yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you found that useful. Next, I'm going to show you guys how to coat your screen once it's reclaimed. But I hope you guys found that useful. If you have any questions about the screen printing process, just feel free to comment or send me a message or anything. I'll be happy to answer it and help you out with anything screen printing or printing related. Not really doing this to promote myself or anything. It's just to be helpful and just kind of a hobby to have. So yeah, let me know. Hope you learned something.